Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mediocre Lowdown. Of course, today is Tech Tuesday. I've started this video a couple times and I realized that I talk really, really fast. And so I'm redoing this and, kind of disseminating the information a little bit better. Tech Tuesday, of course, is going to start becoming an every other week. Along with Nerds Day, I'm going to do that every other week just so that I can compile the information and make sure I have enough topics that I want to talk about and that you want to hear. If, of course, in the future you like the content, let me know, subscribe, like, comment down below, and I'll definitely start doing this once a week again. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get started and kind of talk about a couple of things that I have found that's coming in the future or already kind of here, and just you may not be aware of. First and foremost is 50% of electric cars by 2030. It kind of sounds crazy to think that we are in 2021 and that, we are starting to get to the point where electric cars are much more prevalent. I personally think this is a great move. President Biden signed this executive order stating he wanted not all, but 50% of all new car sales to be all-electric, plug-in hybrid, or hydrogen-powered. He's got a bunch of companies that has already said, hey, this is a great idea, let's do this. GM, of course, has already stated it wants to be carbon neutral by 2040. So, and of course there's Tesla, who is well known for being an all-electric, and they're fantastic cars. Of course, Ford has the Mach-E. Hybrids have been around for years. I would have loved to have a Civic hybrid. I think they're fantastic cars. I know somebody that has one. So the all-electric hybrids and hydrogen-powered is really a step in the right direction, I think. California actually has already started looking into banning all new gas cars by 2035, which I think is a little extreme. I don't know that we're quite at that point, especially with the reworks that would have to be done to gas stations and all of that. But it's definitely a step forward, I think. Of course, those are all minor concerns. I really think the biggest issue is going to be the cost factor. Of course, electric cars are naturally, well, as of right now, because of the technology, they are more expensive than gas cars. Hybrid cars are the same way. Of course, hydrogen powered, I don't know enough about them. I need to look into them a little bit more, and maybe I can do a segment on those. But, and if this goes according to plan, which I don't know how enforceable it is given the nature of it, but if in 2030 we are seeing a market increase in the amount of gas or the amount of electric, hybrid, and hydrogen powered cars that are coming onto the market, it's a bright future for our environment. One of the things is that electric vehicles do really well in inner city environments, and so I think that honestly this push, even if we don't get to that 50%, we get to 25, 30, the amount of pollution I think that would be saved within big cities like New York and San Antonio, and honestly I can name every big city really if you want to get down to it. Every time you look videos on the internet of like big cities and stuff, I mean there's just cars packed, and if more of those were electric or hybrid or hydrogen powered, I think we would see a grand improvement in air quality availability or air quality just in general. All right, so next on the list, T-Mobile had that merger with Sprint, and now they are committed to a June 30, 2022 shutdown of Sprint's LTE network. Now, according to T-Mobile, a third of all of Sprint's customers have already moved. So the other 2/3 honestly shouldn't be that too much of an issue. They've got, almost a year to do it in. Admittedly, Sprint has already stated that their LTE network wasn't all that great to begin with, so this was not a surprising move by any means. Now, of course, some people will need a new SIM card or a new device that's compatible with T-Mobile, and they can check that online on T-Mobile's website. They have a compatibility checker. You just go on there and check and see if you need an upgrade or you need a SIM card, and get connected to their network. The T-Mobile getting Sprint, honestly I was surprised Sprint lasted as long as they did. I remember, when I was younger, Sprint, of course, had that, walkie-talkie phone thing. I think that was Sprint. But really, I haven't heard much out of Sprint in years, and of course, T-Mobile is huge. So, this is going to be a great network for their customers, and I think it's really a good thing for the Sprint customers that came over. So they're getting a much better network out of the deal. They just, may have to upgrade. So, kind of give and take. Okay, so next on the list, I know the T-Mobile one was kind of quick, but this one may take me just a little bit longer because Apple has new child safety protection features that it's rolling out that some people are worried about the potential implications of it privacy-wise, and I do see where there's an issue. So first and foremost, Apple's going to start monitoring your iCloud storage for potential child abuse material. Now, the way this is going to work is any material that's uploaded to the iCloud will be monitored and viewed by a program to determine if there's any potential child abuse material within it. Once it's determined that there could be, it's going to be viewed by a human to see if it meets that child abuse standard, I guess. And then, of course, it will then be notified to the authorities. Honestly, I don't want to put my opinion on this, but there are people that are saying, this kind of violates privacy. What's to stop foreign governments that use iPhones? Like in other countries where the government has much higher control of its people, what's to stop them from suddenly using this for nefarious purposes, I think is what other people are thinking. Governments using it to regulate, anti-government materials and regulate its people's thoughts and patterns if they have something that the government doesn't agree with. There are some governments out there where they have actually jailed people, put them in prison for taking photos that they deemed, profane, and it's, a girl in a bikini. So there was one where it was a model who took a picture in Egypt, of course, at an Egyptian, I don't know, it was some kind of Egyptian building, like an ancient Egypt building. It was, touristy. But she took photos, modeling photos, in an Egyptian garb like you would see on, a music video or in an old movie, like, from, way back. So, the kind of the pharaoh clothing, that kind of thing, like Cleopatra garb. And they actually, took her in and arrested her for it. And so, this is a very real threat that is possible. And it depends on who has the power over that. Now, if Apple maintains discretion, it may not be that big of an issue. But if they allow governments to have discretion, it could be a very, very big deal. So let's hope that Apple maintains the idea that privacy matters and is willing to kind of make sure this doesn't fall into the wrong hands. And, it's a monitoring system to protect children. So I definitely understand why they're doing it, but I can see the potential pitfalls that may come about if they let it be used incorrectly. Now, last on the list, and this may be a much shorter video than I thought it was going to be, SpaceX. I love the names. Elon Musk has this thing with just making some of the funniest names I think I've ever heard. SpaceX. That's the name of his space space exploration program, which, when they were founded, the idea was to make life, interplanetary on multiple planets. Mars, and I don't think Jupiter because it's a gas planet, but you get what I'm saying. Put life on other planets. So this is what's called Starship. Probably my favorite name. I mean, SpaceX, Starship. Let me say it again. SpaceX Starship. Um, with Starship, he's actually really close to realizing a major stepping stone in that dream of colonizing Mars that he has. It is this thing, Starship, here, that's going to be able to carry up to 100 passengers, they say. And that's with them not being crowded all together. He was actually stating that, he was thinking that, they could do like 2 to 3 to a cabin. Because they're going to put cabins in it. He said if you only want to pack them in, you can put 5 or 6. But from the way it sounded, 100 passengers is easily done in this thing without them being squished together. Now, with it being designed for up to 100 passengers, a lot of the issues with space programs is once they're used, they're not reused. This is actually designed to be fully reusable. The idea is that it can be landed safely, refueled, and then sent back out. And the idea is that once it's out into space, it will dock and refuel again to come back in. And honestly, I think that's an amazing way to do it. If they can actually get it to land. Now, it did have its first soft landing this year. There were a couple of mishaps where ones exploded prior. But they actually have had, in May, they had their first soft landing. So if they're able to make that a constant reality, because we don't want them exploding with people in there, a constant reality, Musk has said he's going to try to launch an uncrewed mission to Mars in 2024. And apparently there's a billionaire who's apparently going to get a trip around the moon in 2023. So it's actually a really huge piece of equipment. Now, this is just what's called, the upper deck, I think is what I saw, or the upper part. There's actually a rocket that goes on it using methane as opposed to like standard, fuel types. Using methane is because you can actually create methane from the deposits on Mars, so it creates a much better reusable fuel source. And it gives it the proper thrust. They've already kind of tested it out and figured it out. So, honestly, if this is something that can be realized within the next... 2024 means they're going to be able to launch this thing if everything goes according to plan. It's not just, the imagination of a man, and they're actually able to create this. Then we're going to see the first mission to Mars before we get 50% of all new car sales being electric. That's kind of impressive and oppressive. When you think about it, look at how far technology's come. We kind of gave up on the space race at one point, I think. It used to be this huge thing back in the 70s and early 80s. And it just kind of fell off because, been there, done that. But this is something completely different. This is an actual attempt at colonization of Mars. But that's really all I have for today. I'm actually really excited to see how some of this goes in the future. And, of course, like before, I'm going to try and do updates. Really thank everybody for joining me and watching this video. I know it was kind of a little janky this time. I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know. Have you ever been doing something like a presentation when you were in school and something felt off? I've restarted this video like 7 times and every time something just felt off, and I'm not entirely sure why. But I had a lot of fun making this video. I had a lot of fun researching this and finding out about SpaceX and Starship. I already knew stuff about it, but reading the articles on it and reading some of Elon Musk's tweets about it, I had a lot of fun, and I hope y'all did too. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below if you like the content. Let me know what you think, and take care, guys.